If you don't understand anything else in life, you need to understand this one concept. You are the product and the summation of your thoughts daily. You're the product of your thoughts, you're the product of your beliefs, you're the product of your actions. And so I was reading The Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he mentions some excellent, amazing points in the book, right? You should check it out. The Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I forgot to bring it in here. It's in the kitchen in there. But irregardless, right? Like I said, you are the product and the summation of your thoughts. So we can think of our brains as like a lot of people have thought like, oh, the brain is a computer, but really the brain, as he explains, is a database system of, so you can think of it as several different computers, hundreds and thousands of computers all in one. And you can think of each neuron in your cell that fires as its own individualized computer system, which is absolutely insane. And when you generate a thought, you generate energy. And so if you're generating the same energy every single day, repetitive, we create thoughts, we create beliefs, we create emotions, and all those things affect and impact the way we show up on a daily basis. So if you're continuing to show up the same on a daily basis, you will remain the same, you will think the same, you will be the same person that you are. So to jump into a new version of yourself, what do you think you have to do? You have to stop thinking the same. Your entire life is made out of the thoughts that you think. And this is why I always preach and teach that we literally can generate our own reality. You can have anything that you desire, because if you change your thought process, you change your belief system. If I believe that I can have my greatest and deepest desires, not saying that it's going to show up in the exact way that I imagine it, but I know I can have the desire because I can have the feeling now. So if I change my belief about a system of something that I believed my whole life, then I am changing myself. I am changing the entire molecular structure of my brain. And I feel right now you've thought the same your entire life, 222 on the timer. I feel you've been in a repetitive cycle of where you think the same, you do the same things every day, and that's why I love reading. That's why I love watching readings, tarot readings, listening to other people with different perspective, because it puts you in a different place to where you can be open. And I'm hearing a message of you need to be more open. You haven't been very open with others. You haven't been very much open with yourself, and you need to trust that when you open yourself, it's going to be uncomfortable. So when you have these beliefs that have either been pushed onto you by your parents, by your peers, by your siblings, by your whatever the case may be, by society in general, it's hard to come out of that. It's hard to come out of your set ways, right? It's interesting because when you start to come out of those set ways, you start to see like, wow, like I was really thinking inside the box. And even Dr. Joe Dispenza mentions this part too, like thinking inside of a box. And it's not like a literal box, as he said, inside your brain. We don't have a box in our brain, but you can think of that box as a neurological pathway that we've created. So basically all memory is, because memories are what keeps our beliefs, because we remember what we believe, right? So think of that as a neurological box that we've created inside our mind of different systems of beliefs. And where do those memories get stored? They get stored between the neurons. They get stored between the synapses, the neurological connections between the neurons, right? So each neuron in the brain has its own capacity to generate energy and to send energy in a magnetic pathway to another neuron, right? So if we decide to start thinking differently, we can literally destroy those pathways that we've had. But if you think the same every day, if you react the same every day, you're reestablishing the already set neurological pathways, and that's what we call thinking inside the box. You don't need to be an inside the box thinker anymore. I want you to be a little bit more open. I want you to be a little bit more free, because that is what's going to free yourself. Because how could you jump and generate into a new version of yourself if you're still thinking the same, if you're still believing the same things, if you're still reacting emotionally the same way? That's all the same things. That's everything to do with the brain. You see, thought magic is a real thing. Like, literally, thought magic is a real thing. You can literally think your reality into existence. You can literally think your reality into existence. And what reality is that I'm talking about right now? You can think of a new version of yourself into existence. Isn't that crazy? You can literally think of yourself into existence. All you have to do is step in that energy. So if it was somebody, right, who was dealing with depression, for example, sad, anxiety, whatever, we'll go with depression. That person literally has to jump out of that box they've created for themselves, because now they're living in the identity of being depressed. They've generated a neurological box around themselves and encapsulated themselves in that reality. So to jump out of that box, what they have to do is literally kill and destroy those neurological pathways, destroy those ways of thinking, destroy that way of being, in order to jump into a new version of yourself. And it's going to be uncomfortable, because basically you're going to have to play pretend. And it sounds absolutely insane. You're going to have to play pretend. And irregardless of what I'm saying, I know there's mental disorders and there's much more to it, but this is just an example. So, but I truly believe that we can really jump into any version of ourselves that we want to be. We just have to be willing to be uncomfortable through the process. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable through the process of evolution, because growth is uncomfortable. Growth was never meant for us to be comfortable, because when you're in comfort, that means you're not being challenged. When you're not being challenged, you're not being forced to grow. So when we get comfortable, we get complacent. We get okay with being who we are and who we have been, and accept it. But if I allow myself to expand, if I allow other people's opinions to open me up, if I allow other people's perspectives to open me up, if I allow reading a book to open me up, if I allow watching a documentary to open me up, all these things that you need to do, you need to expand yourself a little bit more. When we find ourselves around the same people, places, and circumstances, we find ourselves the same. And I've generated and learned that, when you do move to a different environment, which I've learned myself through this process, when you do move to a different environment, for example, that can bring out a different version of you, because it can make you think differently. Now you're living in a completely different version of you. Let me tell you how easy this is to generate a different version of yourself. To generate a different version of yourself, you literally have to just play into the role of the character. How does that version of you show up? Does that version of you wake up early? How does that version of you eat? How would that version of you react to this person? How does that version of you do this, and align it with what you want to do and what it wants to look like? And I want you to act as if you're playing that role. You have to. This is literally the movie of life. This is the movie of life, and you have to act and play the role of the character that you want to be in. But right now you're auditioning. In order to really get in the role, you have to prove yourself that you are capable of existing within the role. You are auditioning for God. You are auditioning for the universe. So you can be like, okay, you're ready to handle the energy that comes behind being in that role. Because what I want you to know, as you evolve and as you level up and elevate, that comes with more responsibility, more spiritual responsibility, more mental and physical responsibility. And when you're not ready for the role, you're going to fumble the energy that comes along with the role. You understand? So God, the universe, the Most High can't put you in the position until you're ready. The position can come. The position can be posted. And you can see it. You can see it through your vision. You can see it through your own eyes. But that doesn't mean you have the spiritual, the mental, and the physical qualifications to meet the role. You have to be in the character of the role before you actually step into the role. Does that make sense? So if you want to evolve and jump to the new version of your reality, first you got to be in the character that lives in that reality. You can't play the role until you exist in the role. Mentally, spiritually, and physically. And this goes back to thoughts. If I'm already thinking, if I'm starting to think, believe, do things differently, then I'm stepping into the characteristics of the role. But if I wake up at the same time that the old version of me used to, or that another character does, that's another character. That character doesn't align with that character. And when you step into the actual role and you actually are hired for the role and you actually get to play the role in the movie, guess what? Now that character in the movie starts living a totally different life. And that's how you change and evolve your. It's easy. It's too easy. But it's going to be hard at the same time. What's easy about it is the concept of it. The process is hard, but the concept is easy. The understanding that, hey, if I think differently, if I believe differently, if I allow cognitive dissonance, meaning that all my beliefs that I already have are going to be challenged and feel uncomfortable when other people with other beliefs are going to come around. Because guess what? That's what the universe, that's what God does, is wants to expand us. That's why people with different beliefs, different attitudes, different energies are brought around us to expand us. But it's about, are we going to allow them to expand us? Are we going to allow them to make us feel uncomfortable? Because most of us run from discomfort. Because guess what? We're running from ourselves. Most of us run from discomfort because we are running from ourselves. We are running from the role of the character that we believe that we're not ready to face. We're not ready to play. And you believe that you're not ready to face the role, you're going to run from that role and you're not going to want to be hired for the job because you feel like you're not strong-willed enough. You're not energetically prepared enough. When that partner comes around, you're going to push them away because you weren't energetically prepared. It was the right time, but it was the wrong energy. Okay? Clock it. Okay? It was the right time, but the wrong energy. It was the right time, but the wrong energy. So I pulled 2 cards. Orange and purple. So, the proteins. Something with the throat chakra. It's something you need to say. But that protein also a little powdery. But definitely the throat chakra too. Okay, the orange one. Sacral chakra, right? Sacral chakra. A little bit more of your... I'm blanking on the sacral chakra. Somebody gonna have to write it in the comments. That's more of like... it's not... I would say, yeah, it's probably like the sexual energy. So you're kind of your creative energy, but that's more like the solar plexus. I guess the solar plexus is more like identity, personal truth. And the sacral more is like, yeah, that's your like intimate divine nature. So maybe some of you actually need to be controlling yourself more when it comes to, your urges, more self-control, more control over yourself. That's also the process of becoming and evolving into a different version of you. Because anything that has you in a chokehold and anything that has control over you, you are a slave to it. It has control over you. So the orange card, it says change. I understand that nothing can grow and evolve without movement. I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. Change. What does that mean? Literal change. Nothing can grow any. I know that I can't grow and evolve unless my thoughts are moving. And when I think about like when you have the same thoughts every single day, that's not movement. That's just a circulation, somewhat of movement, I guess. But it's just the reprocessing of the same thing that you already have, which is not really movement. You're not moving your thoughts. You're not moving your energy, because we know energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can become stagnant. Energy can always be there. It always has an energetic potential. Science. I like science. It always has an energetic potential. So your thoughts can be at an energetic potential, but that doesn't mean you use the actual neurons that are there for you. So you have to understand and be comfortable, or should I say comfortable in the discomfort of change, of different ways of thinking, of believing, of thinking, because you will never be able to step into the character of the role that you're trying to get in. Okay. So we have to understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. The movement of thoughts in this instance. The purple one, trust. I accept that my inner voice will guide me correctly. I accept that my inner voice will guide me correctly. What is your inner voice? What is your inner voice? It's your higher self. It's the divine. So when I was going on my walk actually today, right, I had this huge epiphany that was like, me and God, the universe, the Most High are literally one. Like, there's no separation. I feel the energy inside me. I literally feel it right now. It's so potent because I am so connected with myself. And what is myself? It's my soul. It's a part of the universe. It's an individualized part of the universe. And as the universe is within me, I am so without. As above, so below. I am just an individualized cell in the body of the universe, and I can feel it inside of me. And I trust that God is always with me because we are one. And when I listen to my intuition, my inner voice, I am always going to be guided in the direction. But we have to know the difference between the inner ego and the inner voice and the inner truth. The inner ego or the inner soul, the inner truth. Because sometimes we can get confused between what the ego is telling us and what the higher being is telling us. What is it telling you about yourself? To stop being afraid, to make that decision, to stop harboring all this resentment, to have forgiveness. It's telling you to do these things, but then the ego tells you, no, don't forgive that person. Don't be in loving energy. Don't do this. Don't do that. It's your human self trying to keep you stuck in the same thoughts, the same beliefs, the same feelings, the same emotions. What are we going to do with that? Nothing. So right now is a time in your life to start thinking different thoughts, to start having different beliefs, and to start just being different overall, and to sit in the energy of, I'm not going to be an inner box thinker anymore. Thinking outside the box generates a new version of you, allowing other people to share their ideas and their perspectives with you. Of course, you're not going to agree with it. You've had a set in stone way of thinking your entire life. Of course, your cognitive dissonance, look it up, okay? Cognitive dissonance. It's going to feel weird. Some people may have a religious background, and when they hear that God is a part of you, they may be completely appalled. But it's about those who may be receptive to the fact that, wow, let me see what I can maybe, you can even tweak it to be like, okay, let me see what I can maybe relate it to from what I already know. Oh, Jesus even said, me and my Father are one. So could it possibly mean that if Jesus said him and his Father are one, could I possibly be one with the Father, the God, the universe, the Most High? Can I possibly be that? It's about asking questions and being open. Not to make this about religion, but I love all religion, by the way. Like, not in a sense of politicalness, but in a sense of like, it's for me, all religion is very much the same. When you do your research and you study and look at all these different religions, they're saying the same thing. It very much has the same undertone to a lot of them, and that's why I love doing my own research in history, expanding my mind. Don't just sit back and let the world tell you something. Don't just sit back and let your mind be stagnant. You need to exercise this thing, because this thing is an entire universe, and it's looking for energy to constantly be expanding. This universe that we live inside externally is constantly expanding. So your brain inside this skull is a miniature universe and is seeking to expand. Because when it expands, it grows. And when it grows internally, everything around you grows as well. So that's going to be it for the message today on the Ladder Cha. And I hope that you can, day by day, start thinking a little bit differently. So your actions and your thoughts and your beliefs and things can start being a little different for you, because you deserve to live in a reality that's fully aligned with who you truly are. Because when you live in the ego, you aren't living in the reality. You couldn't possibly generate or live in a reality that's authentic to you, because you're living in authenticity. Speaking of authenticity, check out the tea down below. Always linking down. Herbal tea. Get your spiritual, mental, and physical together all at once. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on the Elijah Ashe. And amen.